one of the teams that the Ravens are trying to disrupt and get past in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills. They're trying to get past all the other teams and get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years. Josh Allen's been with the team 5 years. The last 3 years, they've been very high-end contenders, but they haven't busted through to the NFL championship game. Here's Allen from earlier in the week about the sense of urgency for the Bills to get to the Super Bowl and win it.
It's an accumulation of things, I think. But to that point, just understanding our window. And I want to give everything that I have for as long as I play. And, I'm not saying that I haven't done that in the past, but there's always new ways that I can find to get better, and not being complacent with what I'm doing on the field, understanding that there's a lot of plays that we left out there. And statistically, you look at it, we were top 3-4 offense in the league last year, and it wasn't good enough. So just losing the playoffs isn't fun, and I so badly want to bring a Super Bowl here to Buffalo, and I just don't want anything to get in the way of allowing me to be the best quarterback that I can be for this team.
And he's not the problem, as we have said many times.
Right.
If everyone on that team was Josh Allen, they would have won every Super Bowl the last 4 years. Because literally, he could play pretty much every position. You could take his body and you could sculpt it. Really, if you could clone him, you could sculpt with nutrition and weights and whatever, all your offensive linemen, tight ends, receivers, running backs, defensive tackle, linebackers, defensive backs. Maybe corner you'd have a little issue.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't know that, 6'7", yeah. I don't know that 6'7" corners are going to be all that effective chasing around, smaller, faster guys. But, I mean, if they were all Josh Allen, they would have won the Super Bowl by now. This is the constant question of the help around him. And is it the front office's fault? Is it the coaching staff's fault? And how many more spins of the wheel are they going to have before ownership says, we got to make some real changes here?
Yeah. I mean, he's all in, first off, like we talk about, right? I know he missed a OTA because of the match last year or whatever, and people like to point that out on social media, like, well, he missed that because of the match, right? All right, it was a special charity event for a good cause, and he missed it. Okay, but he is a guy that I think we all know. Anybody around football that knows anybody in the Bills or Josh Allen, wherever, he's all in, right? And I like what he's saying. He's always urgent. He's just, hey, let's find the new way to be urgent. What's the new hot poker that's going to drive us this year? I respect that about Josh Allen. And, of course, he feels the urgency. I mean, look what he's looking at. He's going, damn. The guy I was just getting close to toppling is the best quarterback in football. Damn, he one-upped me. He won another MVP. He won a Super Bowl. Now I got Joe Burrow sitting here and people telling me he's better than me. I got to deal with that. And he's very aware of history and legacy in football. Josh Allen, we are watching an all-time great at quarterback. I hope everybody realizes that. We're watching a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, he might not be Mahomes right now or whatever. We're watching Elway in his prime with the team not quite holding up their end. Marino. We're watching an all-time great. It's one of the greatest arms in the history. He's pretty damn accurate for having one of the greatest damn arms in history. And like you said, he's a physical specimen that other than Lamar and maybe Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, he's the best runner in football at the quarterback position. So I bet his butt is feeling the pressure and the urgency going into this season.
But he's doing everything he can.
Is.
That's the problem.
I know.
The urgency needs to be, and this needs to be the Peyton Manning urgency where you're flipping tables and you're kicking ass and you're taking names internally about what we're doing to make this team as good as it can be. What about our offense? The Isaiah McKenzie point about the 17-point loss in the snow. If we'd been in a dome, it would have been a different outcome. The deeper point, as we said the other day, McKenzie believed they weren't running the right pass routes for the conditions. That comes down to coaching. So it can't just be, let's sit back and let Josh Allen go pursue a Super Bowl. It has to be, we have this very rare thing. We have a franchise quarterback smack dab in the middle of his prime, 27 years old, 5 years in. Our obligation is to put the pieces around him and to do our jobs as coaches the best way we possibly can to get the most out of it. It really is an obligation. It's, the parable of the talents. I don't know why I'm getting biblical all of a sudden, but you have something great. What do you do with it? Do you put it to work and do the most you can to enhance it, or do you bury it in the ground?
Yeah,
so far what they've done is they've buried it in the ground.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, I think that's the point, or the thing I think of as you were talking there a little bit, where I was trying to figure out how I was going to phrase it, and you kind of led me down the road there of Buffalo seems to be one of those teams, and we've kind of hit on this in the past, where they've decided to spread the wealth around their football team. And I'm just not sure that's like the way to go, or if you can always do that, especially when you have a quarterback like Allen. Like we've seen Mahomes, they went all in on Mahomes, right? Let's put people around him, the best O-line in football, pass protecting, all of that, and let's do that. Joe Burrow, all in on that, right? That's where I think there's some – then back to the passing game and all the value there to frame your team around that. That's where I think, I can look at Buffalo and go, they've tried to make kind of everything good. And I feel like the Bengals and Chiefs went, wait, we have something great. Let's make that so great that it really affects whoever plays us. And then we'll try to figure out the rest of the team and fill in pieces there. And, I feel like that formula is showing to be more successful right now than what Buffalo's doing.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.